sort value if you want. Let's see, select course number and course name, and then credits. Okay, now let's look at start from course. Okay, so credits 3, and that's a number. Numbers we can multiply. That's why when you set up your fields in the first place, you want credits to be a number because you're going to multiply it. So we want to go out and grab this. And what we're doing is multiplying 3 times 8695. And so we can create an ad hoc table or ad hoc column based around this by doing this. As total value, for lack of a better word. But see how this column is now named total value, and now we can use that total value name to do something else with it. You'll use that later on. Okay, as we go on, we're going to set this distinct qualifier, suppresses the duplicate values. So now what we're going to do is select count distinct inventory sizes from inventory. Now when we do that, what we're saying is we just want to count. Whenever you count, you're saying how many. Okay, so how many of something. So what we're doing is, first of all, let's do this. We're going to select, let's see if I can get this right. Select count in size from inventory. Now look at your inventory table, and if I can find it, and then we have, let's see, okay, here we have your inventory table. Hopefully you can see that well enough. So in sizes, I think that's what we're after. You see small, medium, large, and so on. Well, how many of those sizes are there within this table? And then when we use distinct, we're going to find out how many distinct numbers. How many smalls will be all included together, how many mediums will be all included together, and so on. So let's go back to figure out where we were at. So on select count in size from inventory, we have basically no size here, but there are 30 sizes in this column. Okay, now when we go out and say the same thing, except we want to say distinct inventory size, we only have 8. Let's see. I need to go back to that one. Okay, so we only have 8. Count them out. Small, mediums, large, 10s, 11, 12s, 1s, and extra large. So I think that makes 10. I'm not sure if I counted that right, but I think that makes 10. I think that makes the number that we ate. That makes the number that we got. Okay, so that's where distinct is used, where you suppress those duplicate values. Okay, on group bys, what you're doing with group bys is like select OSID and then count star. Count means everything from orders, and group by OSID. Now, what we're doing with a group by is whenever you're taking sort of like multiple lines. So let's use this, multiple lines, and we're trying to group them together in some way. We're trying to maybe sum the output. How can Oracle, how can you list all those individual lines if you're adding another part of each one of those individual lines all together? Okay, so when you're grouping by this, or when you're grouping by like summing or counting, you have to also group by everything else that's outside of this count or sum or whatever you have. So let's go back to here. Let's grab this, paste that, and then what we're doing is counting and OSID are order sources. I think those are websites, spring catalogs, fall catalogs, and so on. So we have OSID is that website, I think, and then spring and fall catalogs. Double check it. And I'm going to count how many orders how many orders came from each one of these catalogs. Now, it doesn't make a whole lot of sense at this point, because when you're just saying 6 and 2 and 3, well, I know 6 is the website. 2 orders in this orders table came from the website. When we get into multi-table queries, we will tie OSID to the actual catalog itself. We simply can't do that with selecting or querying a single table. Okay, so again, this counts from the orders table, and then asks how many orders were placed from for instance, from the spring 2006 catalog, 2 of them. Okay, so the having clause. So place search condition on results of queries that display group function calculations. So what we're doing here is summing capacity. Now let's look at location. Okay, capacity. This is like how many people can fit into a room. And what we're doing is selecting the building code. That's the building code. Okay, different buildings. CR, the business building, the library. And we're going to sum capacity from location. That's the table, location. Having some capacity, this sum of greater than or equal to 100, and we want to group that summing by the building code. Okay, so we're going to determine which building has what capacity. And because it says, so we know that the CR building has a total capacity now of 260. The business building, all of these have a total capacity of 170. Now, why didn't it say anything about the library? You have a total capacity of 3. Well, we're saying we want to show this because we want to see all of the buildings with a total capacity of greater than or equal to 100. So all we have to do within this command is less than or equal to 100. And now we show the library. Okay, so all right. So that's that having clause. The next slide, and I'm trying to run through this reasonably quickly. Now, what we can do is rename the heading columns, and I've done it already. But if we want to use the same code, select building code, and then we want to say, instead of building code, just simply building, and then some capacity as building capacity. And then we can go ahead and reference building capacity, because we're going to order by building capacity to here. We can reference that. If we wouldn't have renamed the column, the ad hoc column, as building capacity, we wouldn't have been able to work with it in this case. Let's grab this, grab it again. Okay, so we can see building and building capacity. Let's note simply building is simply a title of a column, but this creates basically an ad hoc column. So it's basically a brand new column because you see the uppercase. I could go ahead and do a number of different things based upon building capacity now. Okay, a couple of other quick things. This toChar function, what it does, it converts columns to character strings. So especially with numbers and dates. If we want to use a number, we need to use this syntax. So the number by default within Oracle is just simply 123.4. Okay, once again, select InvID. This number says simply a number like 123.45 would fit into this. So we have to take two character, that number from here, and then this is the way we want to print it. Now, and the rest of the query looks like from inventory where inventory price is greater than 250. So let's go ahead and grab that, paste it, and see how the number formats out. Okay. Now, and I guess let me do this. to char, and I think we can go as price. You see how I added that alias basically in here to this. Okay, and then finally, let's see, inventory ID, and that's what I did right there. Okay, now finally, there's some other examples here. Let's see, select count from inventory where inventory price is greater than 60. Okay, take a look at that inventory table, and when we look at this inventory table, if we look at the price, it's kind of hard to see, of course, but we have 259, 259, 29.95, and some of these are at 60, and some of these are at 209 right here. So if we go ahead and take that and understand what this is saying, select count, how many of these are in the inventory where the inventory price is greater than 60 and inventory size is large, or inventory size is extra large. So this is where we use an AND OR. And there's two of those. Okay, select C first and C last. Now, sysdate is the internal date of the computer, and it is in the date format. So what you can do is multiply and subtract dates. In this case, we're taking the sysdate minusing the C birth date and dividing by 365 to get the age of the customer. We'll grab that. Okay, and we see what this number looks like. So Neil Graham is 45.46 years old. Now, if we want to take this to char, if we want to take and format out the character a little bit and just change it to, round it to 2 characters, to 2 decimal points, we can go to char, this whole sysdate minus birth date divided by 365 formula, and then use the format model 99.99. And then we're going to call that age from customer. And now it's age and it's rounded. Okay, and then I think that will complete the discussion of Chapter 3B. Again, just we talked about selecting the information from a single table. We have a whole bunch of additional examples. Use these examples. This is null, this in A or B, like 2006. Those are really important, and you use those a lot. We talked about distinct and what it does, suppressing multiple or duplicate values, I should say. We talked about the group by because we're taking sets of information and then grouping them together. So we have to use a group by function, and the syntax is very, very important. The having clause, where we can place a search condition on results of queries that display group sorts of functions, and then the headings, okay, and then using tochar and some additional examples. So again, thank you very much.